Howdy, folks. Is Vile Mike here, and Elihu was here a second ago, but because I was busy doing something, he muted himself. We'll see if he returns. Fuck, what did I do? Oh, there it is. Well, now we're just going to wait for people to start showing up. So I guess right now I'm just talking to myself.
Wait, are we live?
Yes, we are live.
I don't hear anything. Test, test.
You don't hear me?
If we're live, I don't hear Vile Mike.
Uh-oh. Let me check.
I test 1, 2, 3. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Let me find out if I can actually hear myself on YouTube.
Oh, I checked the stream. It looks like it's working because I can hear you on the stream.
Okay, it was my own end. I can finally hear you. It was my own problem.
There we go. So how you doing, man?
I'm on another tab. All of a sudden I saw the word live. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't hear anything. What the hell's going on? It was my end. Oh.
You forget to plug in your speakers?
No, I've got the unmute tab.
Oh. And Jordan's in the chat. How you doing, Jordan?
What's up?
So my big plan for this week is basically just, I want to know from you guys, since this is the second annual Star Wars tournament is going to be the 100th CNA stream, which means I will not be streaming next Sunday. That way I can keep the numbering like that.
Yeah, you'd be doing on the 4th on Wednesday, right?
Yeah. So I want to know, what is everyone's favorite kinds of questions so I can do those? I mean, I've done a lot already, but I don't know. I just want to know everyone else's opinions on what kind of questions they tend to like. And don't just say easy ones.
Okay, not hard ones.
And I say everyone since I got one person on the stream and one person in the chat right now.
Okay, I got one for you. Cameos.
What do you mean by cameos?
Okay, I'll give you an example. Show a picture of Greg Grunberg. What's his character? People who
so you mean like famous people who did bit parts?
Yes. Like, what's the person's character's name? We recognize the actor or the celebrity, but who do they play in this movie or this the show? Yeah, who do they play? Like cameos. Because I can tell you that Greg Grunberg was in Star Wars, but I do not remember his character's name.
Actually, I believe he played two characters, and I can't remember either one.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like George Takei. What's his name? James Bond.
Which Bond?
The current James Bond.
Oh, Daniel Craig.
I can't remember his name.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, yeah, he was in there. Who else could be considered a cameo character?
Put a picture of two stormtroopers and say, "Who are these guys?" Well, that's the princes.
But I think I know what you mean. Like, just famous people who did bit parts,
exactly.
Either in TV or one of the shows.
Can you guys hear me? I can't hear anybody.
No, I can't hear you, Jordan. Hopefully he didn't leave because I said that.
Yeah, I asked one person, and he said he's unable to do it. So it's the voice of Fody.
Can you guys
Are you
hear me?
there now, Jordan?
Yeah, can you hear me?
What?
Yeah, you can hear me.
Hear who?
Yeah.
All I hear is a mountain gorilla.
Is anybody or can you hear me?
God, it sounds like the damn Verizon guy.
Hey, guess what? My mic just went live.
I haven't got the notification yet, which is always funny.
I just did.
I don't think I set the set reminder because you did them all at one time.
I did not get set reminder, and I still got the notification.
Setting the reminder just is definitely good for that. If I do it all at once, that way you can get them all at once.
Yeah, but I set no reminder, and I still got the notification you went live.
Oh wait, my phone just went off. Nope, that's not my reminder saying I just went live.
Yeah, I always didn't like the actor questions. But that's everybody's preference, I suppose.
I hate the ship questions. Name the ship. Name the ship. Name the ship.
The ship
See,
ones are good.
that's one of my favorite ones because I mean, the category names spaceships are cool. I can use for almost any franchise. At least
Though you can't use the what was his Boba Fett's ship's name no more. You'll get canceled.
You can use Slave
Why?
1. It's Slave 1.
Yeah.
That's
there was a.
You will not get canceled for using Slave 1.
Oh, there was a bunch of people that started going off about that.
No, anyone who's saying that type of stuff is just exaggerating the point.
Yeah.
Because I made a joke about what was it? I think I posted it to Twitter when you guys ever watch The Bad Batch?
Yeah.
What's the name of their ship?
I've never watched it, so.
No idea.
It is a Marauder class something. I'm trying to remember what the actual name of this ship. Okay, I guess it's just called the Marauder, right? And it is an Omicron class attack shuttle. Now, let me see if I can. I'm going to try to share the screen, so hold on.
Oh, I got a fun category for you. I got an idea for one.
What?
Call it Color Me This. Show a picture of a character and go, okay, what color is a lightsaber?
Nah, because the answer is only one of 4 answers in anything that's actually in the films.
I said fun category.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of The Mandalorian there, but does Grogu say a lot of stuff? Then he can go what?
No.
Because then he can go cute things. Baby Yoda
he doesn't
said.
say anything as far as I know.
He does not. He does
Okay,
not talk.
on the official Lego set for the Marauder is just the Bad Batch attack shuttle. And is anyone getting pissed off about the fact that the Marauder is just being called the attack shuttle? You know why no one's getting pissed off? Because no one gives a shit.
Well, you're forgetting people are stupid on the Boba Fett thing.
I know. It's because Boba Fett is mimetic, and they're falling it. They're like, well, he's such a badass. I'm like, really? He had 4 lines in the entire original trilogy, and one of them was, ah!
It was a Wilhelm scream. It wasn't him.
I know. I'm just making the joke.
No, but people are going off that because it's called Slave 1 there, and some about I don't know. They're making references to slavery and all that other shit, and I was like, "Are you fucking serious?"
It's supposed to be an intimidating name, just like the Marauder. And how you doing, MB?
Hey, speaking of old people, here's Grandpa.
Yeah, I had to fix my handle there. I'll be honest, the new computer is nice. Definitely like the new camera. Actually, I don't look fuzzy as fuck or any uglier, thank God.
Is it just me, or is it staticky on your end?
I'm hearing static from Elihu.
I only heard static when Grandpa started to talk.
All right, can you hear me now?
I wasn't hearing any static, but I do have an airplane going overhead.
Can you hear me now?
I
Better.
can hear you.
Oh, yes, no
Okay.
static. No static, dude. Did you turn off the echo
cool.
cancellation?
What was that?
Did you have to turn off the echo cancellation?
No, I had to plug the stupid mic in.
Oh, that would help.
Sorry, I had something else plugged into the USB port, and
Dude, get batteries for your vibrator, okay?
Normally I'm pretty good at checking to make sure that I have the stupid thing plugged in, but even I'm an idiot once in a blue moon.
Who plugs in the vibrator? Use batteries. Come on. This ain't the 70s anymore.
Yeah, but if there's a battery opening, it might not
batteries
be
nowadays.
waterproof.
You know how much batteries cost nowadays? Might as well just get the charger.
That's why I go to the dollar store or dollar and up store.
What you need is a solar-powered vibrator.
I will never buy anything solar powered. Well, I will never get solar panels put on my house ever again. That was the biggest wasted scam I ever fell for.
Really? Everyone else I know, when my stepmom put them on her house, she loves them. Because literally her electric bill went from like $300 a month down to like $26 a month.
Nope. My electric bill pretty much was about the same, and I got an extra $150 bill and a second mortgage out of those fucking things. So
how's the storage on it?
Where do you live?
Storage.
Oh, that was back when I lived in South Carolina.
Oh, I guess the programs in California are a lot better because she ended up paying a grand total of, I think, $1,500 per array setup on the roof. And that was including labor, installation, materials, and upkeep chart. So they come out like once a year to maintain them.
No, I didn't get that. And they lied to me on a couple of things because I was like, is this going to ensure I still have power when, like the electricity goes up? Yep, you're going to be totally fine. 2 weeks after they installed them, power went out all over the house.
Oh, yeah, you definitely got scammed out of it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that either North Carolina had a shitty program or the people who did it were just abusing it.
Yeah, you got solar panels here.
It was South Carolina. It was actually South Carolina, but yeah. They kind of made some false promises and false things that I did not realize. They also did not tell me that I was adding a second mortgage to my house. Because that's
a dick move.
Well, that was the biggest fucking problem we had because we were like, okay, yes, we're going to pay off the loan for these things. We're going to take care of all that. We just want to make sure the house is closed before we do it. And they were freaking out. The lenders were freaking out because like, haven't you paid this off? I'm like, what part of I'll pay it off once this is closed do you not understand? No, you have to pay it off before it's closed. I'm like, why? Well, it's classified as a second mortgage. I'm like, that's new to me. Why are you telling me this now 2 days before we close versus telling me this 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. I was pissed when I found out. I was like, if I had known that was the case, I wouldn't have even bothered with the damn things. But yeah, I did not.
Here,
I had
go back a little bit because I thought it'd be funny. I looked up the 20th anniversary of Boba Fett's ship. This is the official name of it on Lego. So they still are calling it the Slave One.
The only thing I'm going to say about that is that in the movies, it was never actually stated as Slave One. That was only in the EU.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing
But-
that part out.
To be fair on that point, though, let's put it this way. The Miranda class has never been identified on screen. Neither has the Daedalus class.
No, you're
They're
right.
always just referred to as other. So you could easily say the same thing when it comes to Star Trek stuff.
Oh, absolutely. We're never
Now-
actually told what type of Star Destroyer things are. We're just told
And,
it's Star Destroyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
So-
when we see the Executor and it's the Super Star Destroyer, Han refers to it as a command ship.
Yeah,
So I get where
So-
you're going there. I totally get where you're going there.
but what the whole thing when it came to people, Lego didn't call it the Slave One. They're trying to cancel it. It's like, no, they're not. They're calling it because not everybody knows it's called the Slave One. And I'm trying to point that out many times.
Well,
but
think
people
about it.
wanna
When
be-
Boba Fett takes Han Solo, he doesn't say, put Han Solo in the Wookiee, don't put Han Solo on the Slave One. He says, put him on my ship.
Yeah,
And when when Boba Fett's talking to her, it's like my, what is it called? A Firefly class or something like that?
Firefly.
I think something like that. It's like a fire skiff or fire spray.
Oh.
There we go, fire spray.
Yeah, fire spray. Maybe he just said that because that makes more sense. And she probably knows what a fire spray is versus the Slave One. Okay, well, what is that? That's like saying the Millennium Falcon versus saying a YT-1300.
Yeah. Except the fact that they've never actually called it a YT-1300 in all of any of the movies or TV shows.
Nope.
The only YT they've ever referred to is, ironically, the YT-2400.
Dash Rendar's
in
ship.
Dash Rendar's type of ship, even though they haven't referred to anything as being the Outrider. They just refer to that one in that one episode of Clone Wars. No, Rebels. Sorry.
No, actually, it also showed up in the special
I'm saying
edition.
when they actually say the name or type of the ship it is.
Oh, because I remember when the special editions came out and we saw
right
the
back.
Outrider
I need to restart.
or a white. There was people like, where is this white? Is that the YT-2400? Is that the Outrider we're seeing leave Mos Eisley? And it was confirmed. Yes, it was the Outrider. It was Dash Rendar's ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, when the EU went away, or the old EU went away per se by Disney, and I was talking to some people who were big EU guys like me, I'm like, guys, I hate to tell you this, but this actually is a logical decision for Disney to do. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, they own it now, and let's be honest. They're not going to make these movies for guys like me and you who've been dedicated to the EU for the last 20 plus years. I said, they're going to make these new movies for people who've never read any of the EU. And I said, let's be honest. You're going to have millions of people go see these movies. I said, but when you really look at the comics and you really look at the books, as popular as some of them are, you may have had maybe a few 100,000, maybe at best 1 million read any of them over the time that book has been out. I said, that's still a small majority compared to the people that are going to go see the movies. I said, I hate it. I know you guys do. I just accept reality.
Oh, Vile, I got a question for you. How long do you think the Star Wars tournament will take? It'll depend on whether I'll stream that Wednesday or not.
Last time it took about 2 hours. So we'll just see. It's going to be
Okay.
played by ear. I mean, that's how I usually do things. It's not like I go off and I try to do everything perfectly.
Maybe I'll skip the Wednesday stream then. My Beyond the Belief watch party for that Wednesday.
Well, as of right now, nobody's confirmed to play the freaking Star Wars thing.
I thought I confirmed.
I didn't see it on Twitter.
Oh shit! I thought I did. Sorry.
Yeah, my coworker can't play, and I don't know that much about the Star Wars there.
But
Oh,
I'd
I
already
need my
asked
coffee.
them, MB, when you've played, what are your favorite types of questions?
Well, I did good on the ones I don't know, the ones that I guess aren't confusing. I mean, there was that one time we did it where I actually won, where I was nailing every comic book question just because I knew my comic lore. So I don't know. Sometimes some of the questions I find easy as hell, whether I'm playing or I'm just in the background or lurking. But then sometimes there are ones I'm like, they are so over my head. But that's why I'll never be on the real Jeopardy, because I do know random questions to things most people have no clue about.
Let's see.
Like if you did a Lord of the Rings JeopNerdy, oh god, I'd be screwed.
I already did Lord of the Rings earlier this year.
Yeah,
I know that, but I know that, but what I mean is, that would have been one I would not have had a shot in hell at. I just happen to be good with the comic questions. You did. I don't know. Some are easy. Some are things the way the answer is worded. I do understand it, and sometimes they're just not. Which I think is half the fun of doing the JeopNerdy. Just because we're all nerds and geeks doesn't mean we know everything.
You got a category for planets? Like what happens?
See if I can bring up another one.
Like, do you have a category for like planets? Like this character went to this place on this planet, or this happened on this planet? And make sure Tatooine and Mustafar is not on the choices.
What's wrong with Mustafar and Tatooine?
Those are two of the most common Star Wars planets there is. Come on.
Well,
they've only been on two. They've only been in 2 movies.
No, Tatooine one or two.
Tatooine's been in like every episode of Mandalorian, wasn't he?
Tatooine, mentioned on Mandalorian, all the Star Wars movies, Bad Batch. Yeah, Tatooine is basically one of the generic planets of the Star Wars universe. Some people are pissed about Boba Fett. It's like, can't they play somewhere else besides Tatooine? Come on, can't we go somewhere else besides Tatooine?
What, you want them to go to Jakku?
Exactly.
Of course you would want them to go there.
I wouldn't mind them going to Jakku. I mean, different desert planet is fine by me. I mean, I don't care where they go as long as the stories are good.
Well, there's Hoth, there's Elam, there's Coruscant, there's
Here's another one I found. This is the Halo. It is a SS-54 assault ship owned by the Zabrak bounty hunter Zugi, right? When they made a Lego of it, it's just called the Bounty Hunter Assault Gunship. Oh my God, they're trying to silence Christianity by removing reference to the Halo ship in Star Wars.
The thing is, people are that stupid these days.
I mean, okay, let's put it this way. It looks like to me that they're just getting rid of the ship names because not everybody knows the ship names except for the Millennium Falcon, because everybody fucking knows the Millennium Falcon.
What's the Millennium Falcon?
It's the ship that R2-D2 stole and hijacked when he was running away from Luke Skywalker when he wanted to use him as a sex bot. Of course, kept going beep, 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 and CP3 was like, yeah, that's my bitch, baby.
No. You gotta go with doing Cleveland playing R2-D2.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Going out and that R2 shooting off some shit in space. That's how I roll, bitches.
Can't find a damn pack of Mentos on this planet.
I think the funniest thing about the Family Guy movies was all the insults they did to Meg the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Sarah like, how come I don't get any lines in this? Shut up, Meg.
Shut up, Meg.
And of course, Seth had to point out the fact that they don't put any railings around the edges.
It took me until I was older to realize, where are the goddamn rails?
Yeah, there's a whole article about no OSHA compliance on TV tropes when it comes to Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's like, where are the rails? Wait a minute. You're walking across this 6-foot thing that could take you, that if you lose your balance or your vertigo goes, you're going to drop to your death. Great idea. I mean, let's be honest. We're old school. We could nitpick Star Wars and Star Trek and still have fun with it and love it. Unlike these new people who just complain to complain.
Yeah, I recently found an old video on YouTube, Star Trek related, and it's basically pointed out that Picard Season 3 is a reboot of Star Trek The Ride. When Riker and is addressing people saying, yeah, you've been kidnapped, you're one of Picard's descendants trying to change the future. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Picard Season 3. It's The Ride.
I actually remember that ride. I actually got a chance to go on it in Vegas before it shut down.
Hey,
I definitely didn't.
I'll consider Picard the best show ever if they bring back Wesley there and Wesley dies.
He already died in Sharknado 2 or 3, one of the two. I forgot which one.
And,
Looking back at the plane, kept looking back at the plane, look back at the plane. He's dead. I'm like, yep, bye, Will. Kapla, bird.
Kapla, bird of prey.
Kapla, bird.
Oh, come on. There were worse characters that... Oh.
And Yvette's in the house.
Hey, Yvette.
Blah. I don't think
It's
there was
not-
ever than Will.
It's not how you're supposed to do it, bird.
Hello, world. It's Birdo Prey 5. Cupla.
That's much better.
Wow, haven't you
I
heard?
don't want to waste these people's time. I think these
I
people
got
want to hear
plenty
the
of-
whole.
But haven't you heard? But haven't you heard? The bird is the
Oh,
word.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I-
I got plenty of time to waste.
Well, Bird,
I
I've
got
been
30
asking
minutes
people
before I
because I'm
need to-
trying to prepare for the next JeopNerdy. What are your favorite kinds of questions?
I only want Star Trek questions. Or
These
real
are,
science.
okay, Bird. These tubes are named after one of the people who in TOS.
Tubes.
The Michael
Huh?
tubes.
They're Jeffrey's tubes.
The Michael tubes.
Okay, that was an easy one. That's about as easy as I can get.
Where is Starfleet headquarters located?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Nope. 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 Nope.
Oakland.
No, it's located in Sausalito.
Pretty sure they say they pretty much. I'm pretty sure they say San Francisco.
No, Starfleet is located in basically it's like football. You got the Santa Clara 49ers. They're a San Francisco team, but they play outside of San Francisco. The Jets, they play in Jersey. Starfleet Academy, it's not in San Francisco, it's across the bay in Sausalito.
No,
You see-
George and Gracie were across the bay.
That's Alameda.
Sausalito,
Where is Alameda?
Who the
At least across the bay.
It's where the nuclear vessels.
Vessels.
What?
Nuclear vessels.
I think they're across the bay in Alameda.
That's where I said Alameda. But where's Alameda?
Where is Alameda?
But you're from the future, you know the Bay Area, but you don't know Alameda? What the hell's wrong with you, Chekhov?
No, actually, the one who would have known the Bay Area would have been Sulu, because he said San Francisco. I was born there.
They should have all known the Bay Area as they all went to Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that
didn't
is
know where
true.
Alameda is.
Okay. I don't know if you guys have seen these. I've been trying to do some of these YouTube shorts in order to promote the next JeopNerdy. Like, this is one of the questions I decided I wasn't going to use. Now, can you guys see that?
This is the name of the Talon Carday's mobile base of operation.
Well, I'll play the video and I'm going to see if you guys have you guys seen it yet or no?
I
have
don't
not.
even know the name.
Okay.
I don't even
I'll
know what
play
a
the video and
Talon
I'll pause
Carday
it so
is.
You guys can give the
Talon.
try to give the answer.
This is the punny name of Talon Card's mobile base of operations.
It's like wild card.
Carday
Is it Mar-a-Lago?
It's Wild Car.
It's Mar-a-Lago.
Well, yeah, Jordan got it. But this is a question I decided not to use on the board because I thought it might have been too hard.
Well, you know how
how you doing, LDG?
Oh my God, this is Surfing Bird by the Trashmen. This is my favorite song of all time. Oh, well, a bird, but birds are word away.
What the hell did I just start?
Hey, you know how I knew that?
Is wild card.
You watched it before?
Yeah, I watched the short.
So that I figured that one might have been too hard, which is why I did not include it, and that's why I decided to make a promo about it instead. But is that an okay question or no?
I have no idea what that was about. I mean, it's okay for somebody who knows what the hell that just was. Not okay for me.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I still don't even know what subject is that?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
I had no idea it was
May
Star
the Fourth
Wars.
be with you, JeopNerdy, right there.
Hey, I got a question for y'all. Who owns a red Star Destroyer in Star Wars EU?
What's the EU?
God, I'm trying to remember his name. I know the ship is called the Errant Venture.
I'm guessing
Yes.
someone part of the European Union.
No, he's right. It's the Air Adventure, and remember, he is the father-in-law to Coran Horn.
I can't remember his name offhand, but I know what ship you're talking about.
Booster.
Oh, Booster Tarek. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Booster Tarek owned got salvaged a Star Destroyer, or actually took ownership of it and painted the goddamn thing red.
He also installed a casino, and it briefly was the Jedi Academy headquarters.
For a small time, yes, it was.
Now,
So I met the guy who wrote I, Jedi. And I asked him about that. I said, you wrote this book. It's kind of an integral and it's first person. Oh God, I don't know her name. I do know she came. I do know when the special editions they want to add stuff, they brought her back specifically to do those additional additions to the special edition.
but yeah, she was the only one who came back to film live action footage because she looked exactly the same despite it being so many years later.
Yes, she did. I did not notice the difference.
All right, but hold on. I'm going to go ahead and play it.
Encore in Return of the Jedi.
I don't know.
Answer is Ula.
Why does she look yellow? I thought she was green.
She was a dancer?
Yes.
Yeah,
she was a
slave girl.
dancer. She was a slave girl.
It's the first Death Rancor scene.
And I will say that I'm kind of happy. I think I might continue doing these promo questions because the one I just showed you about Ula, the Twi'lek dancer, has almost 200 views already, and I only posted it yesterday.
Nice.
So I'll probably just keep posting one of these every day until the tournament.
I have a question for you. What was the name of Mara Jade's ship?
Which one?
The one she was most famous for having.
Because she had Jade Shadow, Jade Saber, Jade something else.
The first one.
Was that the Jade Shadow?
Yeah,
the
Jade Shadow.
The winning gamble.
Now, can any of you name the three children of the Solos of Leia and Han? Can you name all three of them?
Jason, Jaina, and Anakin.
How many of them are still alive by the end of the EU?
Just Jaina.
Okay, well, at least somebody knows his EU. In the books, the Young Jedi series, what did Jason do a lot to try and impress Tila Canal?
Are you talking about the time travel walking thing?
Nope, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when they were at the academy together. When Tila Canal and Jason were there.
His
doing some of
animal
those-
husbandry skills.
And what did he always try to get her to do? Laugh.
Sleep with
So
him,
what did
which
he
he
always
succeeded.
try to do? He tried to tell her silly jokes, and she never really got them.
No, I always made fun of that because everybody knew that they were going to hook up. Who read the books?
Which ones? Because when she hooks up with him, yeah, it was pretty much obvious in Legacy that this was going, or even before Legacy, it was going to be a hookup. It was like, oh, she wants him. She wants him bad.
Yeah, the only one that was kind of squicky for me was Anakin and Tahari, because she started getting like mad crush on him when he was like 15 and she was in her 20s.
Well, remember, he was trying to help her get away from that life of the Sith, and it was the whole point. I think she loved me and she doesn't care, and that's what the Sith do. She just couldn't change her nature, which was sad, but unfortunately, Ben had to learn that.
No, Anakin.
Oh, sorry, you said Anakin. I don't know why I thought you said Ben, and
no, it was Anakin and Tahari Vila or whatever her name is.
Yeah, the one who never would. That would be a question. Who's the one Jedi who doesn't wear shoes?
Well, there's a few of them but yeah, in the Jedi Academy series, it makes clear she never wears shoes until Jason makes her.
Yeah.
And she hates it. She hates wearing those things.
You mean feet prisons?
Well, actually, if you remember the Junior Jedi Knights, that was with Anakin, and that was when she showed up originally. And that was when, the whole thing was she doesn't wear shoes. And then she did not meet Jason until a little bit later. But she was in love with, she was absolutely in love with Anakin. She just didn't realize it at the time. And unfortunately, when she realized it was too late.
But that's what I'm saying, is it was kind of squicky because she was in her 20s and he was in his young teens. I mean, he dies when she's 16. When he is 16. So it's kind of like.
Yeah, but you got to admit he went out like a boss. Although I will be honest, Garner Rand was the best of the new Jedi Order.
Oh,
You're insane. No.
Well, when you get killed by your enemy and then they venerate you as a god because you killed so many of them, you're freaking top tier.
You're one man. No, I'm one Jedi. You're insane. No, I'm Garner Rand. This threshold is mine. I claim it for my own. Bring on your enemies. One at a time or all at once. I don't care. None shall pass. And guess what? None passed. Even when they sent and it was Nora Norn who's like, why are we doing it? It's like, he's fighting honorably. How can we do anything different? The Yuuzhan Vaughn just had a very biased view on a lot of things, but they did understand honor.
I will say, the Yuuzhan Vaughn War was probably my favorite novel arc I mean, it was so much. I kind of got tired of the comic book stuff because, you know, like when they brought back the Emperor and they, you know, had another fleet, then they had the Dark Fleet, then they had another. They kept just trying to bring back the Empire over and over again and giving them new super weapons and crap like that. It was just kind of rehashing episode 4 and episode 6 all over again.
I will agree. I will agree with that. We did have that issue with the Bantam books and some of the Dark Horse comics.
Yeah,
but at least when the Emperor came back in Dark Empire 2, and Empire's End, the storyline was actually relatively good. And I'm sorry, but when it was bad enough seeing, you know, everybody talk about The Force Awakens was a ripoff of Episode 4, I'm like, no, this is a ripoff of Jason Solo and Jaina Solo. It's just done very badly.
Yeah.
Because when I left The Force Awakens, I got in my car and I wasn't on Twitter back then. I was on Facebook, and I was like, hey, Ben Solo. Jason Solo called. He'd like his fucking origin back because he did it better.
Yeah. But I think I'm one of the only people that don't hate the sequel trilogy. I mean, there's definitely things I don't like about it. But again, I'm weird, I guess, because I've never hated almost anything Star Wars or Star Trek related, except for, well, Star Trek. I still there's things I like about it, but I still think Insurrection is the worst fucking movie in Star Trek because it is a complete rehash of the plot of Star Trek Generations with the stakes much less.
Insurrection was just a very long episode. It wasn't a movie.
Yeah, but the problem is it was the main plot was exactly the same for Star Trek Generations.
I actually liked Insurrection.
Well, as I said, there are scenes I like, there are conversations I like, there's things I like, but on the whole, the movie is Madman tries to get eternal youth by destroying a population. That's
I see where you're going there now.
Exact same thing in both films, except in Generations, it's an entire planet that has millions of people on it. In Insurrection, it's 600 fucking people. And they make it quite clear that it's like, yes, we know the stakes aren't as high, but the line must be drawn here, or, you know, the whole Picard speech. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Well, you know the old saying, kill one person, you're a murderer. Kill a million, you're a conqueror.
Pretty much.
I didn't come up with the phrase. I wasn't the one who coined it. I will take no credit for that shit. It's all about, well, when it comes down to it, Mike, it just comes down to our perspective. We're all geeks. Just, you know, we like certain things different than others. I know people who can't stand the Lord of the Rings movies, and that's fine. I understand why they don't, because, you know, they'll explain to me why they don't. I'm like, okay, I see where you're coming from. Which took us a long time as geeks to get there, where it's like, you know what? I may disagree with you, but at least I can respect where you're coming from.
Why didn't they ride the Eagles all the way to Mordor?
Because the Eagles are assholes. They don't do a damn thing throughout the whole movie, so then they come in at the end there and act like the fucking heroes before saving Frodo and Sam. Yeah, and the Legion that went to go march on the Black Gate.
Please don't make me that guy.
What, you don't like a Deus Machina? Because that's what they
Deus Ex Machina?
I mean, that's what the owls were. They were a Deus Machina.
Deus Ex Machina.
So I said Deus Machina.
No, you're not saying it right, and you're irking my Latin.
It's Deus Ex Machina.
But like when it came to Star Wars, as I said, I didn't hate the sequel movies. I mean, I disliked aspects of them, but I didn't hate them overall. The only one that I hated was freaking Solo.
Actually, that's where I differ from a lot of people. I actually enjoyed it.
Let me
Yeah,
ask you a
I didn't
question.
like Solo because it literally does not matter.
Okay, I got a question about Rogue One. How the hell, or when the hell did R2D2 and CP3 get on the ship? They're in the yard. The shipyard. The ships are taking off. I'm like, what?
They were owned by
No, they were in
What are
the
you
yard.
talking
They
about?
were in the
They did
Captain
shipyard.
not-
Antilles.
They were in the
At the time,
shipyard
they
when
were
the
owned by
ships were taking
Captain
off.
Antilles.
Yeah, they were in the shipyard watching the ships take off. They're in the dockyard. Next thing you know, they're in space. I'm like, okay, what? The ships are taking off.
That's how off-screen stuff works. I mean, he said Scaro, and then yeah, they were on the ship. I mean, they're part of the
Mercer-
ship. They have to be there.
Yeah, but I'm like, come on.
Mercer, I kind of agree with you there. Not every movie or a film has to matter because I would say that Rogue One is very similar. You don't have to give a shit about the entire movie. You can skip it and it won't impact the enjoyment of the each trilogy. Solo, on the other hand, it does nothing to add anything to the story, the plot, the characterization, nothing.
Except the dice. That's all.
Not even that, because that type of thing doesn't need an explanation.
I think y'all kind of got a little too far into the subtlety of it.
I mean, Han Solo as a character, his arc through Solo he's exactly the same type of character he was at the beginning as he was at the end. He has no arc.
A scruffy looking nerd herder. Nerf herder.
I disagree. I think he, he did shoot first, which of course was a very big plot point. And you got to remember, there was, I think, 10 years between Solo and Episode 4. That's a long time to get a little bitter. He was a young guy. I mean, we've all known people who've been young and optimistic, and then they get older and things don't go the way they want. They get a little bitter. That was just my interpretation of it. But I enjoyed Solo. I enjoyed Rogue One. My interpretation. I don't like the sequels because I don't like them being compared to the Skywalker saga. Because I see nothing Skywalker saga in those sequels.
I think Mercer is here to try to defend Solo. So hold on, let him say something.
No, go ahead.
I just think it's a fun adventure movie. It's kind of like Indiana Jones and Pirates of the Caribbean, but in space. And just as a standalone movie, it's fun. The only thing I didn't like about it was like maybe the first 10 minutes. After that, I was like, yeah, this is a fun movie. The big set pieces like the train heist and the run of the nebulas and the spice mines. It was all fun stuff. I mean, that's what, in the end, that's all that really matters in a movie. It's just did I have a good time? And I liked them trying to like steal the stuff on Castle. I thought it was great. It doesn't have to add too much to the saga. It's just a little fun side story.
No, Rogue One was a fun side story.
They tried to explain the reasoning behind parsec is existence in space, not time. Like, okay, I didn't like their explanation.
You didn't need that, but why not do it if you're going to do it? Whatever. But I just don't look at Solo too deeply. But I definitely liked it better than any of the sequels because the action scenes were more engaging. The writing was at least on the level that I kind of like for a fun space adventure. Whereas the sequels tried to, you couldn't tell which way they were going to go. It was terrible.
Well, what I didn't like was people being like, for Solo, the girl knows that form of martial arts that is in Star Wars. I can't think of the name of it.
It's a video game.
Tassa something.
Tarakasi.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you, Tarakasi.
I'm a little geek, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been not reading my Star Wars as much as I used to. So,
Oh, it's just a reference. If people got it, they got it. If they didn't get it, they didn't miss anything.
So she was hand-to-hand combat, but if you look at Solo in the original series, he's not a brawler. Now, what he is a marksman and a guy who can.
No, he isn't.
No, he's a marksman, and okay, sorry, poor choice of words there. Not a marksman, but he is a quick draw.
Yeah, but even that, he wasn't. I don't know. He just he kind of showed himself up more than he was. I mean, if you look at the scene where they're escaping Tatooine, he doesn't even nail anybody. He just kind of shoots at them, but he doesn't hit anybody. So he's kind of the guy who would talk himself up a little bit.
He can't hit anything because he used to be a stormtrooper. Okay.
No, but remember, he did when he shot Woody Harrelson's character. When it comes to Han Solo is a quick draw. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to hit everything. He's not a brawler. He's not, a fisticuffs kind of fighter. He's a quick draw, and he's a hell of a pilot.
Yeah. Hey, since Elihu here mentioned stormtroopers here, I got a serious question here. So, a group of red shirts and some stormtroopers get in a firefight. Do the stormtroopers actually hit something, or do the red shirts actually survive a mission?
That depends on if they're actually going after somebody enough. Because if you watch the movies very carefully, every time a stormtrooper hits somebody, it's when Vader actually trying to capture somebody. When they're missing, it's when they're getting away. It's like, okay, if you watch the plot points, you watch them in the opening sequence, the stormtroopers are hitting every single rebel accurately. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. When they're running away and Darth Vader has his plan, they're missing everybody. Yeah.
But the joke is the stormtroopers miss everyone. Red shirts die anyway.
The argument about that is that the stormtroopers were told to let them go without seeming like they were letting them go because they needed the Falcon to find the rebel base, and Tarkin's plan was to let them go, but not make it seem like to let them go.
That's why they were missing.
Escape. The other thing that Rogue One kind of brings up subtly, and I don't hold it to to some kind of. I don't think this is always true, but the idea is that the Force is kind of like guiding certain characters, and maybe is indirectly causing the stormtroopers to miss, and that's why they kept missing Chirrut and Baze throughout the movie. Baze and Chirrut, the two monk characters in Rogue One. But definitely, the stormtroopers in A New Hope, which I don't like that name, they were told to let them go, but not make it seem like they were letting them go, so that they thought they were escaping.
Yeah, stormtroopers do have good aim.
I think Tarkin is actually a brilliant character. I thought he was great. I think, yeah. Anyway.
I thought it was a fun story when I found out the reason why he was shot from the waist up was because
he was wearing bunny slippers.
Yes. Oh, you know that. Good. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
In all fairness, I knew that as well.
Oh, I didn't hear. What happened?
The fact that
the actor playing Tarkin was wearing slippers the entire time because he wanted to be comfortable.
Yeah, there was a few shots where he's wearing the boots, but anytime they could, he would prefer. There was a couple of long shots where they had him, but he hated wearing the boots, so they had him wearing bunny slippers.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wore slippers most of the time. Like they said, he had a few long shots where he was wearing the boots, but he made it very clear he did not like those. He wanted to be comfortable, and they accommodated him with that. And he's wearing that whole uniform. And could you imagine seeing the still pictures of him wearing that full Imperial uniform and a pair of slippers?
Yeah, that's funny. But
yeah, if I were to ever cosplay at a convention, I'd probably do that just for the sheer joy of it. Walking around in bunny slippers, full Imperial get up.
You'd have to look up the pictures of what his slippers actually looked like. But it's kind of like the scene in where Vader and Luke are having their confrontation. You know, I am your father. If you look at the behind-the-scenes photos, they're like less than 6 feet off the ground, and there's a bunch of pillows under them. You know, and it kind of destroys the illusion of this huge, awesome pit or whatever that is.
That was just in case he fell or slipped.
Yeah, right. It was just like, but it just destroys the illusion that they're standing over this bottomless spire that goes down into the gas giant.
Okay, if you're worried about illusion, watch season 2 of The Mandalorian. You'll see the safety mat in the doorway when she flips on the ground. Okay, then all of a sudden it's gone.
Which character?
What's her name? Finnick? No, Gina Carrero.
Oh, okay.
She got flipped in the bar. You see the safety mat, then all of a sudden the safety mat's gone.
Yeah, I don't know which episode you're talking about, but I'll look for it. I do know that the stagecraft that they used on The Mandalorian was actually first used on something similar was first used on was used on Orville for the bridge that wraps around almost the entire circle of the bridge, like maybe 500 degrees around, maybe 300, not I would guess about
180.
All right. Sorry, I couldn't find a better picture, but this is one of the only pictures I could find of Peter Cushing wearing his slippers on set.
But
they don't really look like slippers as much as they look like loafers to me. But
yeah, I think I've seen that. I think I've seen that pic before.
But it's like they used an early version of stagecraft on the Orville for the long view screen that they had. But then for the later seasons, they just used green screen. My cat wants to talk, so that's why she's talking.
I hear him.
Want to say something? You want to say
something? No!
No, I don't want to be on here. Fuck off.
Want to say something?
See?
Yeah, I told Captain Trek there for my 50 subscriber stream, I'm gonna give away a cat that won't shut up.
I got 2 that won't shut up.
Give one to Yosef. More cats for Yosef.
Are you trying to get his wife to kick him out of the house?
No, he needs to sleep on the couch for a while.
No, I distinctly recall Yosef saying if he gets another cat, his wife's kicking his ass out.
A bed.
That's funny. Did you watch the Batman?
Yes.
Oh God.
yes,
Can I give you my thoughts on the Batman after being pretty much a lifelong fan of Batman? I would rather watch Batman and Robin than watch the Batman again. That movie sucked, but at least it's shorter than this boring ass garbage they gave us.
I like the Batman.
well,
but
in my head canon, Batman and Robin is a sequel to the 1966 Batman,
I can live with that.
and the Jim Carrey Riddler is the last part of the Tim Burton trilogy. I'll consider that a trilogy, and the only reason that one gets a pass for being silly is because Jim Carrey is playing Riddler.
Chill.
You know, that one is one that I agree with a lot of people. It's not great, but it is kind of a guilty pleasure. And I'll be the first to admit that. Batman Forever is a guilty pleasure.
But
Crocs
I will say that the Batman, as in the sparkly vampire version of Batman, I can't remember his name offhand.
Robert Pattinson.
Thank you. I did not hate the movie, but it was about 45 minutes too long, and where it should have ended, because it had a great ending, and then it went on for another 40 minutes, and I'm like, what the fuck?
You thought it had a great ending. We're going to agree to disagree.
No, I'm talking about when Batman finally captures the Riddler, that was
But
a
he didn't
good ending.
capture him.
What?
He didn't capture him. Fucking Riddler turned his ass in.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I'm just saying that was a good ending for a Batman film, in my opinion.
I disagree.
Everything that
Batman
happened
didn't
after that.
save it. Okay,
was
Batman,
stupid.
this was supposed to be the Batman Detective Batman, something I've been wanting for a long time.
Year
And
2.
all he fucking does is answer a few riddles, saves no one, stops no real criminal at all.
You
The
forgot.
Riddler basically, and then for reasons we are not told, some reason the Riddler decides to blow up the Bay Harbors and flood Gotham for reasons we're never given.
Yeah, that part is just stupid.
You forgot the part where he solves a clue, finds a clue, gets it wrong, solves another clue, gets it wrong, gets it right, gets it wrong again, then gets it right. You've got that
what
part.
I would have preferred is when they were finally realizing about the Riddler has all these followers, have some of the followers be people like Killer Croc, the Penguin, or not the Penguin was not the Penguin, but like some of the lesser known Batman villains. Have them have screen names that make it obvious that it's a potential future villain.
Calendar Man.
Yeah, Calendar Man, Holiday, the Ventriloquist. I mean, it could be so many things that you could do to expand the universe in a first film.
The Condiment
And
King.
they just fucked it up.
Yeah, the Condiment King. Come on. Mustard and ketchup.
Oh, hell yeah.
I cannot believe you actually brought up the Condiment King.
Riddler.
No, but this wasn't even the Riddler. This wasn't even close to being the Riddler. This was such a bastardized version of the Riddler. And Robert Pattinson is
No. Hold on. Did you read Year One?
Yes, I have Year
Okay.
One.
So you know that this version of the Riddler is basically the same one from Year One.
Yes, I understand where you're coming from, but still, just to give himself up like that. I mean, this was a bad, like, I think somebody else smarter than me even said it than this when I put him. He just gives himself up in a bad 7
later, bro.
version.
Kapla.
I like the entire movie. There was a couple of little things I didn't like. I'll tell you the two things I didn't like. I didn't like the Joker scene. They could have just cut that out. And I think that the whole scene with the vans blowing up should have been hinted at before. Maybe like an unsolved riddle. But other than that, I love the movie because I love the feel of it.
I didn't bother watching the Joker. The Joker scene. I didn't bother watching that.
I watched
No, there's
it.
two
when it
Joker
came
scenes.
out.
One that they put in and one that they left out.
Yeah, I didn't watch the one they left out.
Yeah.
When I came back, I watched the one that they left out. But to me, that I don't know.
The movie
I didn't hate
was
it. I didn't
just-
like it. I'm just meh when it came to the Joker stuff in the Batman.
Actually, I don't hate it. I just found it amazingly boring. I didn't think you could make Batman boring, but as far as I'm concerned, the Batman was boring. And Robert Pattinson is not a believable Batman. When he's sitting there doing push-ups and he stands up and he is nothing but a long, lanky guy with no real muscle. And I'm supposed to believe this guy can kick ass the way he's doing.
Not really bad.
Sorry, and I'm not buying that.
I gotta defend that only because there are a lot of guys that are that size that would definitely kick your ass.
Like most
One man's
And
name was
remember-
Bruce Lee, okay?
And remember, Batman is supposed to be a martial artist. He's not supposed to be a boxer.
Yeah.
No, but he's supposed to be a 6'2", 240-pound man with muscles and detective skills and martial arts skills that he learned throughout
No.
the world.
I can accept a more Batman the Animated Series version of Batman who is, 6 foot or 5'11", 6 foot even type, 180 pounds. I mean, the size of Batman in the comics fluctuates a lot, but what you're describing does not sound like an agile guy.
I've seen some 240-pound, 6'2" guys be very agile.
Yeah,
I've seen a
too, but we're talking about
5'3"
someone
guy
who's a
being
martial artist as well, and a martial
seen a-
artist is not going to be that size.
Yeah, I've seen a 5'3" guy kick a 6' guy's ass. Okay, skinny as toothpick. It doesn't matter about size. Size matters not.
I will fully admit, when I was in karate, when I used to go to tournaments and stuff, I had my ass handed to me by short motherfuckers who were just faster than me.
Okay, short motherfuckers, but were they stronger than you?
Oh no, but they still kick my ass.
Yeah, you don't have to be stronger. Just look at Batman and Superman. Batman can kick Superman's ass. Why? Because he uses his weight against him when he throws him. You don't have to be super strong to kick somebody's ass.
Yeah, and
No,
then look
Batman
what
usually beats Superman
Superman
because he has
did
big
when
stuff.
he got tossed. He literally was like, he had this look on his face, like, did he really just do that?
Exactly. It does not matter about strength.
Oh wait. I just got the notification. I'm live.
Oh wow! An hour 6 minutes later.
The main thing is
Let
that
me tune in about Mike's channel. He's live right now. CNA stream. Cool. Thank
Yeah.
you.
the main thing is that I like the feel of the movie, and I like the fact that, except for about 2 minutes of the film, which I'll name in a second, I don't think Bruce Wayne actually was in the movie. Like he uses like he literally is not Bruce Wayne. He's always Batman. Even when he shows up at the funeral or when he's walking around as Bruce Wayne, he's not actually Bruce Wayne.
If you noticed it, he only has the bat suit on at night. Otherwise, he has his face covered. That's the genre of year one and year two.
He's so mindset the Batman. The only time I think Bruce Wayne is actually in the film is when near the end of the conversation with Alfred at the hospital bed. Beyond that bit of emotion, he just isn't Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is so detached from everything about himself, and the only persona he is trying to go for is Batman. And it's at the end of the movie when he lights that flare up and he leads everybody out that he realizes that Batman is something a little bit more than what he thought. I thought it was great.
I have a completely different opinion on that because
that's cool.
Bruce Wayne is the mask. Unlike any other superhero character in any genre, Bruce Wayne is the mask. Bruce Wayne is the fake. The real person is not Bruce Wayne. The real person is Batman.
I agree.
Has always been. They even have made it pointed out many times in the comics, and then even in
Batman Begins.
I think it was Justice League when he's talking to Superman, and oh no, this was when Bruce Wayne was accused of murder in the comics, and he's talking, he's going around still being Batman, and Superman shows up, and he's like says something about showing your face, and Batman points to his mask and everything and says, "This is my face."
Even at the end of Batman
Bruce Wayne
Begins.
Wayne. You're right about one thing, Mercer. Bruce Wayne is so dynamically different from Batman, but when he's Bruce Wayne, he's playing a character.
Yeah.
That's not who he really is. Unfortunately, in this movie, they did not do a difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman, even in the nonverbals. That was one thing, and I'm somebody who knows nonverbals pretty well. That was a big difference because when you look at Batman, when he's Batman and when he's Bruce Wayne, even he does something that amazingly a lot of us can't do. He can control his nonverbals.
Well, just to go back a little bit, I think what you're talking about when it came to the whole mask thing, I think it was most exemplified during an episode of Batman Beyond. Did you guys ever watch that?
Yes.
I haven't.
Where there's an episode basically where Bruce Wayne as an old man is committed to an insane asylum, and he starts hearing voices, but he says at the end, "I know I'm not crazy," and he's like, Terry goes, "How do you know?" He's like, "Because the voices, they kept calling me Bruce."
You mean this show?
It implies that in his head that he calls himself Batman.
Yeah. Well, in Batman Begins, Rachel at the end of the movie basically spells it out that the mask is Bruce Wayne.
There we go.
But this like exemplified it. This movie exemplified it. He's never Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is just a something he uses to get into the club and get into the funeral. That's all he's just using Bruce Wayne to get in there. Even when the lady comes and says, where is Bruce Wayne? He hasn't done any good for the city like we thought he was going to do. Because he's not in that mindset. He's just he's so wrapped up in the Batman. I thought as a standalone movie, not just as an interpretation of it, I thought it was great. I mean, I can understand Batman fans like Salty and other people that have their what they want to bring into what they want out of the character, not liking it. I understand that, but as a movie that tells its own story, I really like this movie, and I just like it mainly because by being 3 hours long, they're not the pacing can be more adult oriented, meaning you don't need an action scene every 15 minutes. You don't need scenes to just be cut at the knees just when you're getting to the meat of it. Like you can have a scene where Bruce is talking to Alfred at the hospital bed, and you can just let the scene play out and have it really, you feel it. And the whole movie is, a very simple story. You could have told it in an hour and a half, but by telling it in 3 hours, you get, at least for me, this is when I say you, I mean you in like a general sense. You get wrapped up in the narrative and mainly the feel of it, and just you get to see a kind of a cool Batman Elseworld story, and I just really liked it. I'm not saying it was a masterpiece, but I just love the way Gotham City looked. I love the way it felt. To me, it looked like Tim Burton's Gotham, only done with proper special effects that you can do now. I thought it was great.
I will say that the set design and stuff like that was still great. I mean, most Batman films can pull that off.
I will say this. I liked the dark aspect, and I did like the noir aspect. But I was hoping that we were actually going to see the greatest detective. The world's greatest detective. I don't feel we got that. Maybe that's where I'm having the biggest problem.
I think he'll get there. I think he's still rough around the edges. He doesn't even said himself he doesn't think he's making a difference. He's not really good at Batman. He's not quite good yet at being a detective. But I like the fact that he's keeping a journal. He's working on it. He's becoming that. And I get the impression that, like, we didn't hear this story, but I get the impression that at some point in the first year of his career, he saved Gordon's life. That's why Gordon lets him come to the crime scenes and kind of defends him. I love the scene where he's talking to the Riddler in Arkham, and he's like thinking that the Riddler has figured out who he is, and when he didn't, or if he's just not saying he did. I love that. That was so great.
That was actually. I'm going to give you that, Mercer. That was some good dialogue.
No, I would say it would have been even better is if that whole conversation occurred while the Riddler was getting arrested.
That would have been interesting. That would have actually made it.
I like the movie. I mean, I just, sure, it could have been nipped here and tucked there and made better.
The movie should have ended
I liked it
when the Riddler got arrested. I'm sorry. That is my...
No,
I disagree with me all you want. That is my full opinion.
I love the flare when he leads the people out, and you see the red the same color red that they used for the opening title. You see this red flare come out, and he guides the people out. I thought that was a great image. I thought that was fantastic.
In the original Batman Year One, Mercer, I don't know if you've read it. One of the reasons Gordon trusted the Batman so much was because the Batman saved his son Jim, who was a baby and was getting tossed off a bridge.
Yeah, that could have happened in this, and we didn't see it. The point is that I just
and that could be
in the crime scene. But yet it was cool.
I think the problem is that they were trying to take too much influence from both Year One and the holiday.
Long Halloween.
No,
sorry, you're right. Long Halloween. Thank you. and try to merge the two.
Yeah.
I would agree. I
think they
would
should just
absolutely agree on
focus
that.
on-
agree
As
with
somebody
that.
who doesn't read a lot of the comic books, is familiar with it, I've read issues, but as somebody who just was watching a movie, the only thing is, I like the third act. I just think getting there was a little bit abrupt, but I just like the movie. I'm not saying it's the greatest film. Maybe it's better than Joker, maybe it isn't, but I kind of consider them, even though they're not connected, I almost consider them like a good double feature, like to watch Joker and to watch this movie, because they both have this feel that I really like, that Marvel just can't do. Like, there's something cinematic about what's in focus and what isn't. And I love just how in both versions of Gotham that you just get wrapped up in it. You're in this city, and I love it. And for me, I know that they're technically not connected because Bruce Wayne and Joker is way too young, but whatever. I just think they're
Either way,
good. They're good
in all honesty, I
standalone
like
movies.
the fact
and
that
why
I
would
like
do
the
that.
fact that you're defending the film and you're making good points.
Yeah.
It's not going to change my particular opinion, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's okay.
But
That's not the point, though, Vio Mike. The point is, it's good that we have someone who actually enjoys the movie and can articulate good points to why they like the movie, which is what we all do as geeks. Now, I get where Mercer's going there with trying to compare it to the Joker, which I absolutely loved. I'm a huge psychological thriller fan, but the best part about the movie for me was being able to leave the theater, talk with people, and be like, okay, was this real? Was this in his head?
What about mental illness? The one shot in the Joker that always confused me.
I'll say this. Sorry for interrupting. I will say this. The Joker was great as a Batman-related film, but would have probably been just as good of a film if they had removed any reference to Batman or the Joker.
Yeah.
But it probably wouldn't have done as well in theaters.
Possibly, I would agree.
That's what matters. It had a good story, period.
They are talking about making a Joker
what
too.
confused me about the Joker is like the scene where he's talking in the very first scene after the sign, where the kids beat him up. The first real scene is when he's talking to his casement worker, and then there's a quick 1 second flashback to him banging his head on the insane asylum walls, and that was like, okay, does that mean that the whole movie is something he's making up? I don't know, but that was cool. I like the fact that they put that in there. I just liked the movie. I thought some of it, like the biggest problem I had with the Joker is there's this one shot where he writes down in his notebook a great line. He writes down something about people and mental illness. That is a great thought, but I just don't think anybody would actually write it down. You know what I mean? Especially if they were mentally ill.
What I enjoyed mostly about the movie, and I understand mental illness quite well.
Yeah.
But
great.
what I loved about the movie was actually the very, very end of it. When he wakes up, all these people are, he's on the cop car and he starts dancing around and doing that thing. And then we get that clip at the end and he's laughing and he says to his caseworker, "You wouldn't get the joke." And I was like, oh, and then we get the, him dancing around with blood and everything, making us think he killed the caseworker. And it's kind of like, how much of this was really real and how much was in his head? That's what I love about psychological thrillers is when, I like some open endings. I don't like cliffhangers, but I like open endings. I like being able to interpretate and articulate with other people and getting their views. Just like I'm getting yours, Mercer. Vio Mike and I may not like the Batman movie, but at least you enjoyed it. And you're giving
remember what I said, MB. I just want to defend myself for a second. I didn't say I hated it. I just said that I didn't like the last 40 minutes. I liked
I'm sorry. I thought I said dislike. If I said hate, I'm sorry. I meant dislike. No, and I understand that. I mean, there are portions, Vio Mike, you're saying you like Mercer, quite enjoyed it. And I think that's great. Absolutely. Unfortunately, I found it completely boring. And maybe that's my bias stuck in so much Batman lore that I'm not able to let myself out of that box.
I respect that. I mean, I'm kind of the same way with certain aspects of Star Trek. So I have my own The thing I love about Star Trek is a certain feel to it. Like I love. I'm not going to go on a Star Trek rant, but I'm just saying I can relate to what you're saying, and I kind of just like this movie the way it feels. Like I picture myself at night either watching the movie full on or just having it on in the background, and either way I'd be happy. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that's good for you. I'm glad you,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad it was a movie that you could relate to.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
not
like
my
it, but
favorite movie
I
ever.
don't like it, but I don't like it, and I find it boring, and I'll explain why I find it boring, but I will never be that type of person who tells someone you should avoid this because it sucks, in my opinion, because it sucks.
Yeah.
I can't bring
totally
myself to do that.
I mean, I totally respect that, and especially because you do come from like the Batman lore, and there's certain you wanted him to like. I agree with you that he's a detective in this, but he's not really that good, and some of the things he solved are pretty easy technically. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So who's a better detective,
Anyone else
Sherlock?
upset about how often that the movies seem to be borrowing from The Long Halloween?
There was no poison ivy.
If
what
you
I-
want
what I
to,
mean
hey guys, just FYI, if you want to watch The Long Halloween, if you have HBO Max or you have HBO Max, The Long Halloween 1 and 2 is on there. They've got most of the Batman animated, and I did watch The Long Halloween. I've read the comic. Very good adaptation, I thought. Actually, I have the comic. I have a shit ton of Batman
And
comics. I probably have a few
Of
thousand.
course, you could also watch my review of The Long Halloween if you guys haven't watched it already. Hold on. Ah, crap. It's playing the video. I was trying not to do that. I just wanted the link.
Oh, you did Halloween. You did Long Halloween 1 and 2 review, huh?
I gotta tell
Yes.
you, Vile Mike, your voice sounds like you're on the radio or something. you have a
That's
radio
because I'm
voice.
talking slightly loud. Oh, are you talking about on the videos?
Just that's like in general, your voice is like a radio voice to me.
Well, I do have a face for radio.
Cool. Which is
I have a face for radio and a voice for print. As I like
Yeah,
to
that's
say.
the link to Batman Vile Review Season Episode 3, Batman The Long Halloween. Then that's followed by Episode 3.5, which is
Yeah,
Long
sorry.
Halloween Part 2.
Be right back. I need to tweet.
I'll check it out. I actually got to go in a minute just to take care of some stuff. I got to write an article on Strange New Worlds and shit. So
Is that even out yet?
no, I'm writing like an article. Getting like a anticipation article.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I'm just trying to get this website some clicks. So yeah.
Honestly, at this point, with what we've gotten from new Star Trek, I can't say I'm too.
Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm more looking forward to the Orville New Horizons, which comes out in a little
June
over a month.
2nd.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Oh
for that.
God! If you knew how many times my son has been asking me, but my son's watched the first 2 seasons of Orville probably 9 or 10 times more than
That's
I've
awesome.
watched it.
You will be silent. Yeah, the characters are just fun to be around, and it's like even if the story is like whatever, you just hang out with the characters. And I don't know. I don't know who my favorite character is. I love Gordon. I think he's awesome. And he was my least favorite character when I first saw the show, and now he's my favorite. So what can I say about that?
Lamar, I'm gonna say Lamar is my favorite so far.
Yeah, he's great too. I like them all. It's just a fun show to watch. Even if they're, because I just like the characters.
Well, there's a lot of. As some people I've come across have, and I agree with them. It's basically Star Trek without the stick shoved up their ass.
Yeah, definitely. And my friend in Romania, she's a huge Star Trek fan, and she became really sick of the new Discovery. She just doesn't like it. And then she's like dealing with a lot of problems from the war happening near there. But then I told her about the Orville, and she's like, "Man, it's good to see optimistic television again." And she loves the Next Generation, so she just ate this show up. So she's like, "Yeah, it was perfect thing to give her a break from everything that's going on."
Well, Seth MacFarlane understands Star Trek very well. He knew how to, because I don't know if you know this, Mercer. He pitched a Star Trek episode to Paramount. They rejected it, and that's why he came up with that's kind of where he came up with the Orville.
The Orville is called Seth Trek. Get it straight, man.
Did you know that he does
Or we
the
call it
commentary?
STO.
Did you know he does the commentary track on Cause and Effect?
No, I did not know that.
The episode with the time loop, he does the commentary track on that on the Blu-ray.
I did not know
Nice.
Yeah, if you get the Blu-ray for the show, he does the commentary track. He was also in 2 Enterprise episodes.
I thought he was only on one.
No, he was in 2. He was one of them was in the 3rd season, and one of them was in the 4th season. He played the same character though.
Yeah, he played one of Trip's engineers.
Which is why I'm hoping that he brings Connor Trinneer into Orville. That would be so awesome. But
it's a rumor, but has not been confirmed yet because
I just hope he does. I love the fact that I saw this great video where he's talking about, this is just before Orville was created. He talks about what he likes about Star Trek, and he talks a lot about the Drumhead, where he said, it's a bottle episode. It's a great script. And he said, to me, Star Trek is at its, I don't remember the exact quote, but he's like, Star Trek is at its best when there's no money, when the least amount of money is being spent. That's usually when Star Trek is at its best. And to me, that made me, it cemented the idea that he understands Star Trek. Sure, you can have your great battles and they look great, but if you can do a bottle show with great script writing, then you understand Star Trek, and if you look, the 2nd season of the Orville was just no conflict, no bad guys, no jeopardy, just catching up with the crew of the Orville. It was great.
One of the things, though, also is what you kind of piggyback on that is the few battles we did get, or the few, explosion we did get, actually had weight to them because they were few and far between. But you had episodes like, let's say, Data's Day, one of my favorite episodes, and it's mostly, focused on a day in Data's life, but it also happens to be the first time we meet Keiko, who is going to marry Chief O'Brien. And there was so much story that was brought there that Keiko was introduced to O'Brien by Data. And the whole episode, and we get this point where, Data's like, I bring great news. She wants to continue her happiness by canceling the marriage. And it did kind of show that even though Data is about 24, 25 years old and an android, he's still very much childlike in some ways and doesn't understand how to deal with, he has no emotion. So everything he does is logical and trying to assume where he says, well, since he cares about Keiko and this will make her happy, I assume this will make him happy. And he totally gets it wrong. And Jordy's like, next time I'll introduce the good news.
Yeah, it's a great episode, and I like the fact that they interwove the conflict through the. That's great. They interwove the conflict with the Romulans through the story, and it just reminds me of I loved how I love the characters on the Orville in a similar way to the obviously just not enough episodes, but. Yeah, I love the scene, for example, when they're after they watch Rudolph, and Bortus is like, I got to go tell Clyde, and then I think Gordon Lamar had this thing, he just left his baby with 2 drunk dudes, and then Gordon's
reminds me of my father,
my dad.
But there was an interesting about that I thought was very great and very Star Trek like. They're watching, as humans, they're watching a classic episode, Lamar and what's his name? The guy with the beard. I always forget his name for some stupid reason. Gordon. Yeah, Gordon. Gordon and Lamar, but then you have Klein in from a completely different culture and everything. It's like, oh shit, my kid can be different. And just watching that simple episode made him want to change his point of view on about a
You're talking about
girl.
Bortus.
And
You're
it was,
talking about
I'm talking about Bortus. And it was just a very well done episode. And
Yeah, I
it
love it.
felt very Star Trek like.
Absolutely. I love the fact that there's a subtle hint that Mocklins, they like Earth pop culture, because that one other episode where Clyden is just like, I'm very depressed. This is Clyden, the mate. And he goes in there and he's like, give me some. He gets ice cream for depression, and he starts watching some old Earth movie. I just love the fact that the Mocklins tend to like Earth pop culture. I think that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, when he's going up to the replicator and he's like,
Yeah.
what is it humans eat when they're depressed?
Yeah, that's
And
great.
then it's like ice cream. He's like, give me ice cream. Or like when they actually take up smoking, that was
Yeah,
funny.
that's so great.
I'll take 500 cigarettes.
He's like, they're not food. I like the fact that they like the cigarettes with the phaser, with the gun. It feels
That's
like
something like
I
me and that's something like me or Eli who would have done with a joint.
Yeah, you know what's great
Yeah.
too? It's like if you look at Kelly's office, she's got a Journey poster. Of the album cover for Journey Escape is on the wall. I just love that because she's a Journey fan. You know
Well,
what I mean?
remember even Ed talks with the guy
Yeah,
who was
Cash,
her
that's my
boyfriend
favorite
who was a
scene in
teacher,
that
and he
episode.
says
Journey.
they were having a fight. He's like, play some Journey.
It's
It's like
Yeah.
Journey.
great.
He's like, yeah, it's 20th century,
Just checking the archives, and I'm gonna go bang my head against the wall. So I'll talk to you later. Like Seth has a real talent for nailing these characters, and he's so good. And Captain Mercer, in some ways, is my favorite captain ever because he is so human. He's so. I just love the way he just throws up his hands in the air. And he's like, "Oh my god," I love it.
Or how about the fact that when Kelly actually dates the teacher, he goes in a shuttle pod and does a drive-by. And she called him out on it. Did you do a drive-by?
And he's like, "No, me and Gordon we just exchange shuttles every week," and he just tries to think of an excuse. The other thing I like about Mercer though is that he's got like this. Seth is a great dramatic actor too, and one of my favorite moments is when Bortus, got those two Mocklins with their baby off the ship, and he calls Bortus into the office, and everybody's in there, and Bortus has to explain the whole situation, and then everybody leaves except for Bortus, and Mercer just gives him a look, like he understands why he did it, but he just knows that this is a problem. You know what I mean? And it's just a look.
About a girl.
Look, that's drama,
Well, that is about a girl, Elihu, and I think that's where.
This. I'm talking Sanctuary from season 2.
Oh, Sanctuary, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm talking Sanctuary from season 2. After he smuggles those guys off the ship, and they find out that they weren't going where they were supposed to go or whatever. Everybody gets. Topa basically spills the beans, and so everybody's in the office grilling Bortus about what happened. Now, Mercer understands why he did it, but he still gives him this look like this is not a good situation. And it's just a look. It's just a quick look. And that's how you do drama. I mean, that's what Discovery doesn't understand. It is sometimes you don't have to, you could just have, if you know the characters, you don't need to have them say too much.
I would say there was something a little more subtle in that than like say when, but I mean, because this is very Star Trek related, when Worf goes to kill Duras after he kills Pilar, his mate, and he's in front of Captain Picard, and he goes, "Sir, I've acted within Klingon law and tradition." He goes, "The Klingons agree with you. They consider the matter closed. I do not."
Yeah.
And then he has to remind Worf that he is not just a Klingon, he is a Starfleet officer in the Federation.
See, that's what you're saying. What you're saying gets into this bigger point is that for me, the reason Picard is a great character is because of his voice and his eloquence, the way he's able to talk. And like you can have a scene where he announces the death of Sato, the girl from the episode.
Oh,
That's a
the
powerful
droid,
scene.
yes.
That's a powerful scene where he's like, this is the captain to the crew, and then he just kind of leans back. Or the scene where he's talking to Maxwell any scene in the ready room with Picard is going to be an awesome scene. Like the scene where he's talking to Captain Maxwell in the ready room, and Maxwell's just going off about how he knows the Cardassians are up to something, and Picard is just not having it, but he's barely talking. And that's how you do drama. And the reason I don't like the Picard show is because they brought this character back, but his most notable trait, his ability to speak and his eloquence, Patrick Stewart is aged out of it. He can't play that.
Actually, he did well in the interrogation room in the last episode.
Yeah, that was okay.
That was classic Picard.
And the news scene was good in the first episode of the first season. The newscast scene was pretty good. But the thing that I like most about Picard is his ability to speak. And Patrick Stewart has so much difficulty doing it now. I hate to say it because he's one of my favorites, but
I would say his best. I would say his best speech out of Picard was when he talked to his ancestor Renee, and how he went about that. I was like, "Wow, that actually sounds like something Picard would say to encourage someone."
Yeah,
because he was like, "She's like, any advice? Look up.
That was a great.
Tell me about this. Tell me about this ship," and just kind of gives her the confidence and reminds her of why she's doing this, why she's a part of it. And I was like, well, damn.
There are moments.
That just hit LVG.
Excuse me.
I love TV tropes.
No excuse for you, man.
But anyway, I think who was I I think we see like eye to eye on a lot of these shows, and we have differences, but I think we have like a kind of a bond on these episodes and what we like them. Yeah. There's this video. I'm not an admin, so I can't do it. But there's a video that I wanted to link with Seth talking about the drumhead.
Put it in a private chat.
This is more and more like a drumhead trial. And then when he goes into his speech at the retired admiral and uses her own father's words against her. And it's just like, damn, you take Measure of a Man, where he is like, this is a new life form. It's in your hands.
Yeah, there it sits.
Yeah, there it sits. A unique life form. And, that piggybacked later when the Exocom episode came out. And Data said to him, the reason why I did what I did is you spoke for me. They had no one to speak for them. And he felt inspired by Picard standing up for him, even as an android and having no emotion, that he felt this is what he needed to do, just like Picard did for him. That's how strong of an impact that was.
I hope that works.
Or when he gives Wesley a tongue lashing he needs, the first rule of every
duty of any structured officer is the truth, whether it's scientific truth or
personal truth or historical truth.
Yeah,
it is the guiding principle of what Starfleet is. And if you can't bring yourself to do that, you do not deserve to wear that uniform. And then when he goes, Captain, he goes, dismissed.
Yeah. If you don't tell the truth, then I will. And what I like is that's what made, like, the original series often ended with a huge fight, like a brawl or whatever. TNG basically said you could have a scene with Picard in the ready room against any other good actor, and it's going to be a great scene. Like even the scene which is a little more silly, where he's talking to Rasmussen, Burlinghoff Rasmussen, the time traveler, and he's talking about like the idea of Rasmussen telling him what's going to happen. And even that scene, which is a little bit more comical, Stewart is so good that you almost feel like it's an important scene, even though it isn't. It's a 10-minute scene that takes up an entire act of the story, and it's not 10 minutes, but it's like maybe 6 minutes. It's so good. It's like you can have the kind of strength of having Patrick Stewart in one room with one or two other people, and it's going to be great, almost always.
What was it? Was it Captain Maxwell who called Picard? He said, "You're a fool. History will look back, and this is the man."
That's it.
Well,
And he's like, "This smells like a bureaucrat's office."
Hey guys,
And
I
then
need to take
he-
off.
and
I need
then-
to take off because I'm hungry. I need to eat.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
later. Take care, bud.
Hey, later,
And
weirdos.
then of course Picard says, "I will accept the judgment of history."
Yeah, it's such a good scene, and I just that kind of drama is what I like about Star Trek. And the Orville once in a while does that, but I like the fact that they can poke fun of the Star Trek conventions, but they love it. They do it through love, and I love the characters. I like the humor. I don't know, it just works for me. Usually, I don't like Star Trek spoofs, and I don't like it when shows go for a joke. But this show just defied my expectations as to how that works. Sorry, Normal.
I said this early on. I think the first 2 episodes, the comedy was a little kind of forced, and I think that was intentional.
Yeah,
And I think Seth MacFarlane had a plan. He was like, "Okay, they expect me to put humor in this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to give them what they expect at first." And then as the series progressed, the first season, and then especially the second season, the comedy went from being straight in your face to a more what I call natural kind of organic humor.
Although I do think, I love watching that second episode. And there's a couple lines I really, really like. One was when she's like, they're in this prison that looks like their apartment. And she's like, "Do you want the bed or the couch?" And he's like, "I'm too drunk to be on the bed at that altitude." but the other, I just love that. I think it's something I've never seen. It's just like that line is just so perfect. But the other line I really like is when all these laser beams are going off and they're about to be disintegrated. And he just looks at Kelly and he's like, "I'm going to the bathroom to read." And then the lasers turn off, and he's like, "Why did you say that?" And he's like, "Well, that's Elvis's last line. I didn't know what else to say."
Yeah, I did think that.
All right, it took me a while to find this, but because you guys were talking about it earlier, I wanted to play it. Have you guys ever seen the Picard song?
I don't think I have.
All right, I'm going to play part of it because they literally do the speech.
Right. That's great.
I remember this.
I'll have to look that up and play it. But did you see the video that I posted? With
To have loved and lost. It is better to have loved than lost than to never have loved at all.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, I'll post the link in the chat. It's fairly old, but it's funny as all hell.
Did you see the link with Seth that I put in the private chat?
Mr. CCDV, if you actually look at Patrick Stewart during his time even after Star, the dude was making kick-ass TV movies in America. King of Texas, Moby Dick. He did I thought a very good
Christmas Carol.
Thank you. That's the one I was thinking of. You knew exactly where I was going there.
The other link I posted is the one from Mercer. And Mercer, I went ahead and made you an mod so you can do that in the future.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Don't worry. I won't abuse the power. I won't abuse the power. So I never do that.
And in all honesty,
only abuse the power to put LEG on timeout.
And the only thing I will say, he was the only guy to play Professor X.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, and when I say that, it's because I remember Wizards of the Coast back in the early 90s. For those of you who don't know what Wizards of the Coast is, it was a comic book magazine. You'd get at a comic book store. And one section they generally had was, okay, who would be the actors to play in this particular superhero movie if it ever came out? And they went into X-Men one time, and Professor X, it was like Patrick Stewart every damn time. It's like nobody else was meant to play that role but him.
Did you ever read the X-Men or Planet X with the Star Trek Next Generation X-Men crossover novel?
I heard about it. I saw the cover of it.
Yeah, they make a joke in there about how much Picard looks like Professor X.
See, here's the thing.
This was years before, you know, the
Exactly.
X-Men movies.
But here's the
No,
thing.
I never actually
read
saw that one.
When I read the comics for the X-Men, I always pictured, although he's bald and he's great, I always pictured like Professor X being more like Daddy Warbucks from the Annie comic strips, like looking more like if you look, you ever see the movie Dave with Kevin Kline? If you look
Yes.
at what's his name's character, I'll get it. The vice president in that movie looks more like the way they drew Professor X in the and Daddy Warbucks.
Oh, you're talking about the guy who played in. I know who you're talking about. Shit, now I can't
The
think.
guy from the Marvel. He's the cartoon character in the Marvel films. I can't think of his name.
No, he's been in a
Kingsley.
lot more movies too. Actually, the first movie I remember him in was a movie called Sneakers.
Yeah, but Ben Kingsley. That's who I'm thinking
Ben
about.
Kingsley.
Yeah, like that's how I pictured the way they drew Professor X and the way they drew Daddy Warbucks was kind of like that version. Like I love Dave, by the way, that movie. And when you first see the vice president, he's so distinguished looking, and you see it from the back of his head, the way you would reveal Professor X. You know, he's just kind of this like bald, distinguished guy. That's kind of the way I always pictured him. And I love the fact that they didn't bring the vice president into the story until the very last part of the movie. And you really get the feeling that he's an actual decent guy and that the other people were trying to smear him. I think that movie, by the way, that movie is awesome. It's such a good movie. And his character was perfect.
Oh, how about the fact that Sigourney Weaver, his quote unquote wife, is seeing him in the shower and basically tells him, "Move your hands."
That was so funny. That movie is like, because Ivan Reitman passed away recently, so I was watching it again because of that, and it's such like Ghostbusters will always be like my favorite for him, but this movie might actually be better, objectively better. It's so good, so good.
It is a good movie. I will agree with you. It is definitely a good movie. I did enjoy Dave.
Yeah, it's a movie they can't make today, and that's another reason I like it, because you just go back into the 90s. And one thing that makes it work is they got all the newscasters that were doing news during the 90s to play themselves for like the news briefs about the president.
Oh hell, they even got real politicians.
Yeah, they got real politics. They got Arnold Schwarzenegger himself to do a cameo. Yeah, it was really, really clever, and it added to this verisimilitude that this crazy story is actually happening. Yeah, it's definitely a really smart movie.
I'm not
arguing with that.
Ving Rhames as the Secret Service guy, brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with CCDV on this one, though.
Well, that was not. He's Mr. Cody. Ivan Reitman didn't do The Princess Bride. That was Rob Reiner.
Yeah, I thought he had that wrong, but I would say best movie. Yeah, definitely of Reiner's movies. I would say The Princess Bride.
But that's not Ivan Reitman. That was Rob.
No,
Reiner.
I know it's not. I do love that movie, though.
I don't. If anyone says they don't like The Princess Bride, I immediately am start suspecting them of being a terrorist.
I just watched it with a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old the other day. My friend brought his kid over, and we watched it, and she liked it.
I remember watching it with Caddy the first time because she had never seen it. And she was like, no, this is going to be stupid. I don't want to watch it. And by the end of it, she was like, just like the Wonder Years character. She was like, wow, that was really, really good.
Yeah, it's just a great little movie. The only thing I would change about it is once you get past Vicini. By the way, there's an interview with Patrick Stewart where he's literally dressed like Vicini. It's the one that you see everywhere. He's literally wearing the same outfit that Vicini wears. But anyway, I think the pacing slows down a tad too much after the Vicini scene before it picks up again. That's the only part. That's the only thing. It's just a little pacing lag that I think happens after Vicini dies. The pacing kind of slows a little bit, but other than that, it's a great movie.
I keep referring to The Princess Bride, especially Andre the Giant, every time somebody says something stupid that they think they know what they're talking about. I like, you keep saying that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
You know, watching it again with my friend and his daughter, Andre the Giant he's not just like a walk-in part. He has a lot to do in the movie. He has almost more to do than even Indigo. Like Andre Giant is in a lot of scenes and he's so perfect. But even little bits and scenes where he knocks doors down and he's doing stuff, they gave him a lot to do in the movie, and the movie is better for it. He's actually in a lot of scenes, and the more scenes than you remember him being in.
Hello.
I heard there's a behind the scenes story.
Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
There's a behind the scenes story where Andre the Giant farts during where they're filming, and it was 14 seconds long. His one fart, right? It just lasts he's so big, it lasts so long, and then after it's over, everybody's so quiet, and the director just looks at him. He says, "You okay?" And Andre just looks at him and says, "I am now."
I am now. It is really just
21.
one of those. It is one of those movies that is just a gem of our time that just is generally universally loved. I remember when I think it was on Twitter or Facebook, there was some talk about rebooting The Princess Bride, and I said, okay. And
Yeah,
people were. I said, guys, I'm going to say this now. I said, this is 100% bullshit. They just want to see what people are going to say.
Yeah, I remember
and
that
you can probably guess what most people said.
Yeah, there's no need to remake that movie because even today, everything in there is relevant and it works.
Yeah.
Some movies don't need to be touched.
Other than like the little boy's room having certain toys and posters, nothing dates that movie really.
Nope.
The fact that the opening shot is him playing this Nintendo baseball game. That's the opening shot of the movie. It's great.
As I said, other than, the little boy's room.
But
nothing
if you
really, as I said, nothing dates the movie because it's a story.
Yeah.
Hey, Vile Mike.
That framing device works.
You could take that scene now and just say he's playing a PS4, 5, or on a tablet or on his cell phone when his grandpa comes in and wants to read the book to him.
Yeah.
And it would still be relevant to today, the rest of the story.
Absolutely. And I
would accept a remake like that. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me explain. If they just remade the framing device and updated that, but kept the entirety of the story, with Carrey Hughes and everybody, that would be funny as all hell to me. And calling that a remake.
That would be funny. Yeah, we're gonna do a remake. We're gonna do a remake. All you did was update the grandson to modern time. Yeah,
that's all that was needed. That would be freaking awesome. And instead, have Fred Savage playing the grandfather. That would be it.
Oh, that would be nice. Or maybe Fred Savage or maybe just have some fun with it, like do like a Wonder Years Boy Meets World, Girl Meets World kind of thing, where his brother is on Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World. Maybe he's the grandpa just coming to see her grandson, grandchild, daughter, whatever, and does the book thing and playing that. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I would accept a remake in that regard only.
Yes. Unfortunately, there wouldn't be that many people who'd probably recognize the symbolism of it.
That doesn't matter. That's it. That's the only way I would accept it being remade. And then, except maybe the only other change I would make is making the whole thing widescreen.
Well, there is.
I don't think they have a wide. Do they have a widescreen version of Princess Bride?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
I think so. I think it's one. I don't think it was filmed with like 235-1 or anything. So the widescreen is not going to be too much different than the full screen. So I think most DVDs have the widescreen, but it's not like a severe widescreen. There are some movies that are shot. For example, The Truman Show. Even if you get the widescreen version, the black bars are not thick because they filmed that movie specifically for television. To be to look like a television show. Even Back to the Future widescreen shots are shot. They're not severely. They're not 235-1. So it depends on what ratio they chose to shoot it at. So you can see black bars on the top or bottom. Like I just watched it on Disney Plus, and there are black bars. They're just not. They're not as the scope is not that wide for it.
Yeah, they did shoot it in widescreen.
So if you go on Disney Plus, you'll see it that way. But some movies just are different. Did you know the Avengers, the first Avengers film, was 11:6, whatever the ratio of your actual TV is? That's the ratio they shot it at. And the reason they didn't go wider was because they realized that a lot of the great shots in the movie will have the Hulk standing next to the other Avengers. So in order to show how tall he is, they wanted less wideness to the shots. So like the main shot of the movie where they're all standing in a circle works so much better the way they should, without it being wide. So that's why the movie was shot that way.
Hey, real quick, Val, Mike, I gotta go. I got about an hour before my stream at 3. So I gotta go.
I gotta go soon too, and I'm not trying to leave. I'm gonna stay for a little bit. But dude, it's great to talk to you, man. I think even when we have different opinions, I think we both respect each other's opinions, and that's the best thing. You have good reasons for your differences. I try to bring good reasons, and then we do agree on a lot of stuff too. So it was fantastic talking.
Oh, it was great to talk to you.
Next week there is not going to be a CNA stream on Sunday because it's going to be on Wednesday. Just make sure everybody knows that.
Well, see, MB, I'm not sure if you heard me before because I think I have problems with my headset.
All righty.
I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, guys. How's it going? So you're talking about Princess Bride. That's
a deep cut.
That's an interesting movie. I couldn't quite get into it. I think because of the they kept cutting back to Peter Falk and
I love that.
Fred Savage.
He does not get eaten.
That's the framing device. That's what it's okay for that.
Yeah, no, I understand that it's a framing device, but still, it didn't quite. Because of that framing device, I couldn't get pulled into the movie.
You're not really supposed to be pulled in too much. And that's why the sets kind of look a little like, for example, when they're sword fighting, it looks like a soundstage. Yeah, and I think that's intentional because there's supposed to be this element that it's a bit like it's not quite real. Like there's something about the set design, and you're never really fully convinced. And I think that's intentional. I really do.
Yeah, that might be true.
Like you look at the set where they're sword fighting, it looks like a set. It really does. It looks like the background looks fake, and I think that was totally intentional to give you this feeling that it's just a story.
Yeah,
just
to be honest,
a little bit of
background. One of the best
background.
sword fights in all of film.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, I love it.
Carrey Elwes and Mandy Patinkin actually studied sword fighting for 6 months with a master swordsman before they even filmed that scene. So yes, it was done on a soundstage. Everything in the background is fake. Yes, of course. However, still one of the best sword fights in cinema ever.
I was not dissing it at all.
It's a wonderful fight.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general about me with movies, I generally don't mind once in a while when I can see the artifice, when I can see that something is not right, because movies to me are about, I don't want them to look too real. I don't always want them to be completely real, because that's the point of a movie, is that they're not quite reality. Reality isn't edited together with a sound mix. And so like when a movie can actually have a little crack in its artifice, and I'm not quite convinced. I actually am pulled in more because I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by little things in movies that break, whether they're doing it intentionally or even when they're not. I kind of enjoy it. I'm pulled in more.
Yeah,
That's just my attitude about movies.
There's
That's
a
why I love
shortage of
Cloud
perfect
Atlas.
movies in this world.
Yeah.
It would be
Be
a
ashamed
pity
ruin
to
yours.
damage this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
that would
really,
be a
that's
pity.
why I love Cloud Atlas, because Cloud Atlas is all about different kinds of storytelling, whether it's around a fire or whether it's through a film script or whether it's through a journal. Like there's different methods of actually telling a previous story.
Well, that's one of the things that I really liked about the Animatrix.
Yeah.
And I really liked about What If. If you have Disney Plus and you've seen the What If series, it's only 8 episodes long, right? But What If, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I don't understand why some people really didn't like it, and I'm like, they're what if stories. It doesn't matter. But the fact that they actually combined them all at the end I thought was great.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, the whole series was just wonderful from beginning to end.
I don't like the animation style. Well,
okay.
Sorry. I don't like the
Watch
animation
something
style
else.
for a few things, but my kids still like them.
Yeah, like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. It's like I don't care for those at all, but a lot of people love them.
Oh yeah, I'm with you there, Indy. I'm not a fan of Dragon Ball. I think the series is stupid and it's the same thing over and over again. But for people who like it, I'm like, more power to you.
Yeah, exactly. And
my boys loved it, and so
Samurai Jack is so much better for me because it's stylized, it's action, and you don't get you don't have to get invested in the story too much because it's just a stylized action piece. So you don't have to invest yourself in a great deal of backstory and lore and that sort of thing. So I love it.
Oh God, Samurai Jack was like 25 years ago, man.
I don't know if I've seen all of Samurai Jack, to be honest.
You probably haven't. They brought it back a few years ago.
No, it wasn't good when they brought it back.
Not quite 25 years ago, I don't think. It's more like 18.
Hey, I'll be back in a little bit. I gotta go for a few. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty.
Thanks for letting
me. We'll see you.
See you,
good
Mercer.
times, Mercer. Good times.
Good time. I'll be back in a little bit. Talk to you later. Bye.
Cool. But yeah, Samurai Jack's been out. I think it came out at the same time as Avatar: The Last Airbender. I love that too. I love that. That was so well animated, and there was a lot of story to it. There was a lot of interesting elements to it. The martial arts being choreographed from real martial arts styles, and the whole story behind it was just so amazingly well done, and the animation was just so beautiful. So I love it for the opposite reason that I like Samurai Jack.
Just so you know, I base all of my timelines on when I was on active duty in the Army, right? And so I know for a fact that Samurai Jack was 1996 because that's the very first time I ever saw an episode of it. Now, it may have been 94, 95, and then I just started watching it in 96, but either way, it's old. It's old.
Yeah. That's amazing. I didn't think it was that old.
Well,
on,
yeah, if you've got milestones in your life and you go back to those milestones and you go, oh, that's when that episode came out.
Samurai Jack was originally aired August 10th, 2001.
Oh, okay. Well, I was on active duty then as well. But yeah. Okay. Sorry, my bad.
So
like 21 years old.
Yeah. So it was right about the middle of both of what we said. So that's not bad.
And let's see, I will say that I have never watched an episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, so I'm checking to see when that was first aired.
Well, what I was saying is that my kids, my boys, they really loved Dragon Ball, right? And so I watched a few episodes just to know who the characters were, and my sons and I would just, we'd stare at each other and go, Kamehameha! and then we'd wrestle on the floor for a little while.
Yeah.
My boys could put me on my ass now, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're both taller than me. They're both stronger than me.
All right. Apparently, Avatar: The Last Airbender was originally aired February 21st, 2005.
Yeah. That sounds perfectly. Yeah, that sounds just about right.
Yeah, that makes sense since I didn't hear about it until I got what? Sorry about that.
I think the reason I like, or the reason I didn't hate the Avatar live action movie was because I never watched a single episode of the series. And in that regard, I was like, hey, this movie's not that bad. And then I have everybody, including my kids, be like, you're the devil! No, how dare you say such things?
That's funny. I had the same problem with Starship Troopers, right? Before all 4 of my deployments, I read the book Starship Troopers because the book is amazing. But I love the movie.
Oh, I love both too.
Yeah, me too. The movie was good. I don't like the fact that they made Carmen, because I always thought Carmen was a guy.
Carmen was a guy in the book, yeah.
In the book, right? So it's like, why would you make him?
Because they needed a love interest,
so they could show boobies.
It was inappropriate to do gay stuff.
Yeah, but they didn't show her boobs. They showed Dizzy's boobs, which are fantastic. I love.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. She's always had a great rack in every.
I'm sorry, I got the characters mixed up. How embarrassing is that? Jeez, no, Carmen was always a woman in the book.
Was she?
Even in the book, she was a woman. Yeah, because women are better pilots than men.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. I mean,
Tina Meyer.
I probably read Starship Troopers in the 70s.
Fair enough.
Dizzy was the guy. Dizzy was
the guy, and he died in like the first 3 chapters of the book.
Yeah,
he died when they were fighting the skinnies.
Yeah,
and if you know the book, you know the skinnies are not the arachnids.
Yeah, because the arachnids had people working for them.
Yeah, exactly. The book is just far more developed than the movie is. But seriously,
I like how Paul Verhoeven was able to take a book that was extremely nationalistic, extremely jingoistic, extremely all that kind of toxic type stuff, even though the book was still great, and flip it entirely on its head by playing it completely straight.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah,
and I wish they could have done a lot more with Robert Heinlein's works, but they've failed every single time they've tried.
Well, let's face it. Heinlein was kind of a misogynistic prick.
Oh yeah, he was.
Have you ever read Stranger in a Strange Land?
Yes.
Well, remember he went to the naval. he went to the Naval Academy in the 1930s. Okay, and the reason that he got separated from the Navy is because he ended up with that lung disease where it what was it that tuberculosis. He ended up with tuberculosis, so he had to move to Colorado. And then once he finally got cured from tuberculosis, he moved to LA. And then, well, his writing just got weird after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still like his novels, though. I do.
Oh yeah, so do I. There were two, and I can't remember the name of the first one. It's basically there's a secret society of long-lived humans on Earth, and
yeah, Time Enough for Love. And
is that the second book or that's the first book?
No, Time Enough for Love is the first one.
Yeah, because I remember Slipstick Libby in that book.
Yes.
And
well, you're talking about a bunch of short stories that all ended up getting combined into Time Enough for Love. And when he wrote that, he decided to make Slipstick Libby, who was a man in the short story. I can't remember the name of the short story right now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't think it does. Yeah. So in Time Enough for Love, he went and saved Slipstick Libby and turned him into a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. But those books, Lazarus Long, I love those books.
Oh, absolutely. The Future History with Lazarus Long, fantastic.
Yep. And then when they get back to Earth, so they're chased off of Earth. This is the great thing, right? They're chased off of Earth because
they live too long.
The short-lived people are basically in rebellion against them because they found out about them, and so they leave Earth and they go do these adventures in the galaxy, and then they finally have to come back, and the government is like, no, we're all long-lived now. Once the human race found out about you guys, we had to figure out a way to extend life. We had to do it. That was such a cool concept.
That is true, but the Howard families still were separated from the ephemerals, is what they were called.
Yeah, but there still was this. At the end of the book, they actually started to combine sciences too.
Oh, they did, yeah. And like, in where is that? The planet that Lazarus Long founded. It was called
been so long I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah. Well, either way, I mean, he figured out how to do time travel. He figured out how to, and that is really where the books got weird, because he went back in time, and actually,
he became his own grandfather.
Yeah, well, no, but yes, he had already he was Woodrow Wilson Smith while Lazarus Long was there. But it was during World War One.
Because I'm stupid, I was looking up certain things about Heinlein and stuff. And basically, there's a thing where they're talking about his political views, and it's including some quotes from him. And it's like he goes from democratic liberal to libertarian to conservative to fascist. And he used his own quotes to show that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny.
It is actually true, though.
I think fascist might be a stretch.
Okay, hold on.
While he was alive, the last book was To Sail Beyond the Sunset. And that was when Maureen Johnson, his mother, whom, by the way, he had sex with when he time traveled back to 1918. 1917 or something.
In the 1950s, however, he began to espouse conservative views. After 1945, he came to believe that a strong world government was the only way to avoid mutual and nuclear annihilation.
Wow.
And so, yeah, when you're talking about him saying that he wants to have one world government, that is exactly what most conservatives would argue is a fascist government.
Yeah, I suppose that's not really what fascism is necessarily. I mean, fascism is the state is all.
I know, but I'm talking about from a conservative point of view. They would rule that as a fascist thing.
Yeah,
Which is really
potentially. Yeah, I
weird
could.
because
Yeah, I could
he
definitely
never
see people
espoused
saying.
that the state was everything. He always said that the individual was more important than the state. He always
No.
espoused that.
He's almost the exact opposite. He thinks that, or at least at some points of his career, I mean, people's ideologies change over the years anyway. But he's more of, especially in novels like Starship Troopers, it's the state is what's important. It's the individuals willing to sacrifice for that state and for the society at large that is important.
Okay, yes. And he did write that a couple of years, well, many years actually, after he left the Navy. So, yes.
Yeah, he was coming. Yeah, he was coming off of World War One and World War II, and so it kind of made sense at the time that the people who have the power to vote should be the people who served in the military. At least,
well, it was
it's not just that.
no,
I
it
will
was
say
state service.
apparently in
Any
an interview,
state service
said that
yeah.
other people should also be granted that right for civil service, including teachers, postmen, police officers, anyone who's basically working as a federal employee at some point.
The guy who mops the floor for 5
years
years is allowed to vote. The guy who
Yeah,
mops
that
the
was
floor
kind
for
of
5
his-
years
that-
is allowed to vote.
yeah, that was kind of as I understand it, that was a little bit
neglected in the
retroactive
movie.
on his part, right? He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I didn't mean just the military. I didn't mean just military service. I meant any government service. That was kind of him.
It was,
as I understand it, he was
neglected.
backpedaling.
It was neglected in the movie. Everybody who watched the movie thought that it was just military service who got to vote. That's not the case.
The way I looked at it in the movie was it was probably just the easiest way for the average person to do it was joining the military, because the military, is always needing new people, whereas you only need so many janitors, you only need so many teachers.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah.
That is true.
And do you really want to give some of these people the vote? I mean, honestly, just because they served in the government? I mean,
I don't.
It's.
I realize the Constitution is against it, but I think there should be a friggin' IQ test to vote.
I think there should be. There should be something. That's for sure.
I think if I am not mistaken, I think I would have failed your IQ test because I did vote for Trump.
Oh yeah, you definitely would have.
Well, I could say the same thing about people who voted for Biden.
I would say something along the lines of, do you think it's a good idea to stare at the sun during an eclipse? You do?
I thought
you don't get to vote.
I thought it was ridiculous that anyone would vote for
Did I piss off NB? Or did he just drop out?
Well, if we're gonna go this route here, I could say anybody who doesn't pay attention votes for a guy who can't speak at all. Then they should be allowed to vote. Oh, tuning on the depressor, Batacalf care. We're out. Yeah. Should we go that route?
No, here's the thing, right? In 2000, I voted for Gore, right? So I've not voted Republican my entire life. I have not. I voted for Gore in 2000 because I knew George W. I met him in Austin. I knew I didn't want George W. to be my president. I knew that. So I voted for Gore. I don't know what else to say. I'm just... How do we go from science fiction to politics?
Don't ask me. I didn't bring it up.
Oh, hold on.
I'm very highly
I know words. I have the best words. War hero. He's the war hero.
Oh, do I have to bring up a Biden video? But I don't think you got 3 hours of this shit.
I was down there, and I watched our police and our firemen down at 7.
Sorry, but yeah. If someone is complaining about the eloquence of Joe Biden and then they praise the eloquence of Trump, it's like
I didn't praise the eloquence of Trump.
No, our most eloquent president has been Obama. Even I nearly believed everything he said.
I would say you're correct. Because the presidents that have been since I was alive was Reagan, Clinton, the first Bush, Clinton, second Bush, Obama, and Trump.
Okay, honestly, Clinton did not need the teleprompters to be eloquent. Obama did need the teleprompters to be eloquent. So maybe Clinton was a better speaker than Obama, but every word that came out of Obama's mouth was like, I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you.
I still didn't vote for him. I know that might shock some people. It's like, oh, you must have loved, vote. It's like, no, I've rarely voted Democrat. But it's like this is some people. I'm just like, I look at them like, how do these people get votes? I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, seriously, how does anyone look at that woman and the way she acts and is like, that's who I want to represent me?
Have you ever listened to her actually speak?
Yes, way too often.
Because I listened to her on the Tim Pool podcast. I was agreeing with a lot of stuff she was saying.
Please, hold on. Just please explain to me what is going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene, because I am curious. I saw a article on her, and they're trying to not allow her to become elected again.
Yeah, they're doing some kind of trial thing to try to remove her from the ballot because they know that she'll win her district. But if they remove her from the ballot, she won't win.
It's basically because
do their jobs.
She's basically been committing perjury, and the problem is it's not perjury like an actual crime, but she's like blatantly lying to Congress about certain things. But since it's not an actual crime to lie to Congress, they're trying to say, it's really kind of complicated how you can lie to people and it not be a crime in certain conditions.
Well, what it is they're all pissed that she's actually making them do their jobs, but because the way she explained it is they bring up a bill and there'd be like 10 people in the House or in the chambers there, and they go, Democrats, yay, Republicans, no, the Democrats have it, but then her and a few others would call for a roll call vote and make everybody come into the chamber to actually vote on the bill there so that their names would be on the bill instead of is a partisan vote.
Now, honestly, I think that is a good thing.
Well, the part of the problem is a lot of, like, when it comes to a bipartisan bill, a lot of Republicans will be all for it if their names won't be attached to it, because then they won't be told, oh, you're supporting something that a Democrat wrote.
Oh, it's the same thing with the Democrats.
When they got the spotlight on them, then they're like, oh, well, we can't vote like that, so I have to vote against it even just because a Democrat wrote the bill.
Well, it's the same thing with the Democrats.
Unfortunately, that's very true in a lot of cases. And
every job I've ever had, if it came down to a meeting that we had to come to, every job I've ever had, that meeting was important that we had to come to. Now, I'm not talking about the weekly meetings where we go, yeah, I've done this many contracts this week. Okay, fine, whatever. No, we're talking about like serious. Okay, I may have made a mistake on this contract, which means that we need to fix it. and we all come together and we go, okay, we're going to fix this contract this way. That's okay. I understand Congress is totally different from a real job.
Yeah.
It's totally different
The
from a
main
real
point of
job.
a congressman is to get reelected. That's it. That's their entire job.
If it's a matter of running the country versus, I made a mistake on a contract for $5,000, you would think that the Congress would come together and go, yes, we need to fix this. And they don't.
You know, one of the things I think would be very helpful, like if C-SPAN were to, when they actually put stuff up, stop putting the parties next to whatever congressperson is talking.
Exactly.
Don't say the Republican candidate from Maryland or something like that. Just say the candidate from Maryland or the senator from Maryland. That way, people have to judge them for what they actually say and not which party they represent.
Instead of which party they represent. Exactly. Yes, that would be perfect. Because every time I watch a news article,
you're not part of a party.
It seems every time I watch a news article, it's like Representative XYZ R.
Yeah.
Representative XYZ D. I was like, okay, well, I know which line they're standing on. Seriously, stop doing that.
If we forced them to start judging them based on their actual opinions, we'll kind of really understand that, not everybody necessarily fits that party square or box that they want to be put in.
I often tell people that I'm central right. Okay. I am central right. I am. But I'm central right. So if they put me up in a news article, they would put an R at the end. And everybody would think that I was extreme right.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. When I hear central right, in my mind, because I actually study politics at least a little bit. I mean, not Dunning-Kruger levels where I think I know everything, but I would say center right is Democrat.
See, that's where I'm at too. I'm center right as well, and I don't vote Democrat and I don't vote Republican necessarily. I voted independent this last time. I voted for Jorgensen. But yeah, I tell people I'm centrist right as well, and I believe that certain things should be done in light of reality. Like if you're going to have sex as children, you should be able to get condoms, for example.
Yes, absolutely. And the schools should be giving out the condoms.
Yeah. And here's something that I would say. I know a lot of people are like, we shouldn't be teaching kids about sex. I was like, no, we should be teaching them as young as fucking possible so they know the mistakes they can possibly make and not make mistakes like I did and have sex at age 12.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. My daughter is only 12 years old. When she was 11 years old, she decided that she was pansexual. Because someone told her that is what people do. They become pansexual when they get older. And so my 11-year-old daughter decided she was pansexual.
And she probably has no idea what that really means.
Exactly. So if she is going to start having sex, and honestly, she has only had sex with women, so I guess that's all right. But if she ever got a boyfriend, for God's sake, I'd be a grandfather at 45 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the problem. It's like we need to, and this is where the Republicans just get it wrong. They teach abstinence and abstinence only because they live in this dream world where they think that's the solution. How is that the solution? And I say children, I'm talking about teenagers, and you're telling me that an 11-year-old girl is having sex. That's ridiculous. That's a child.
Indy, I don't know if I don't think I've ever been on stream with you before. I don't think I have. Maybe I have. Either way, my name, Mr. CCDV, Conservative Christian Disabled Veteran. And so when I say my 11-year-old daughter was having sex with another woman, I was so furious. And I walked downstairs and I calmed down. You know, I walked outside. I drank a glass of wine, and then I came back in and I said, "You're 11 years old, darling. I love you so much, but you can't tell me what you are at 11 years old. You can't."
No, and it's perfectly reasonable to say to children, this is what sex is at that age.
I think it's appropriate.
It's appropriate to start teaching them about that sort of thing at that age. But for them to be deciding, because I have a niece who at 15 decided she was male. And it's like she wanted to be called Theo. And no, you can't, you don't make those decisions. You're still growing up. You can't expect people at that age to know what they really are.
Now,
now hold on, Indy. Let me play devil's advocate for a little bit.
Yeah.
If your 13, 14-year-old kid said that they were definitely straight at that age, would you have an issue with it? Or would you say, you're young, you don't know what you really are yet?
I would say I would probably just let it be. To be honest, I would say I love you for who you are, no matter who you are. You know, that's what I would probably say.
My son,
I want to tell you guys a story, and she might be embarrassed if she ever watches this, which I know she doesn't, so it's fine. Caddy once told me, because I made a joke when she was younger, saying that why can't you be a lesbian? Because that way I don't become a grandfather before I'm 40. And she looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "Sorry, Dad, I like boys." Now, fast forward a few years. She's been in a committed relationship for 2 years with a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So, not only is sexuality a spectrum, it is a spectrum for individuals, and it can change over time.
It can.
If you don't mind, I will tell you my story with my son as well. He was 14, and he bought several dresses. Okay, and he wore those dresses. He wore them, and I have to be honest with you, he looked really good in those dresses. He did. And the very first time I saw him, I got out of my truck and I was like, "Yeah, well, I'm a redneck, right? I got my cowboy hat on and my Levi shirt on and everything." And I'm looking at my son going, "You're wearing a dress." And he said, "Yeah, I'm wearing a dress." And I went,
"All right.
If that's comfortable for you, go for it."
All right. I will tell you a story. I used to go to a certain bar with a bunch of friends of mine, and one of my friends was a guy that I still call Dan, despite the fact that he's gone by Celeste for the last several years.
Yeah.
Dan is a 10th level black belt, or 7th level black belt. He could kick my ass. He's a former Marine, and not just a Marine, a sharpshooter. So this is one of the manliest guys I had met by the time I was, that age. Now he's got boobs. He's got long hair. He's a she.
Yeah.
And when I first saw him dressed as her. I'm trying to get the pronouns correctly, even though I still have it fucked up in my head.
Me too.
I was like, damn, who's the new hot chick?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
this is not quite the same. It's not the same. It's not.
no, I understand because it's your son instead of.
Well,
you know what I mean?
no. I was moving on to a different story. One of the bar that I go to in my hometown, we have a guy who's a regular, and we call him Blackie Chan. Right, he's a black man, and he is again the 5th level black belt or whatever you call that. Right, I mean that he can kill with a touch. Right, but one of the things with that is that he doesn't want to, and so whenever a fight breaks out in the bar, I step between Blackie Chan and whoever is trying to fight him. It's like, yeah, I'll just stand here and take the punches so that Blackie Chan doesn't have to go to jail, because he's gonna go to jail.
Yeah,
he's a black man in freaking Williams, Arizona. He's going to go to jail if he throws a punch. So I stand between him and whoever is trying to fight him, and I just take the punches, and I just go, okay, fine, whatever, go away, go out. I'll buy this beer, I'll pay for this beer, and you can just leave the bar, please.
Yeah. Man, where are you guys living where you got these black belts? Oh my God. I mean, I studied martial arts myself, and I knew some guys who were like 2nd level black belts and things, but I ain't finding them in bars.
I never studied.
Well,
I never studied martial arts. I never did. Other than I was taught by a special forces. I think he was a sergeant first class. Anyway, whatever the case may be, I was taught by a special forces guy not how to fight and defend myself. I was taught how to kill people. That's what I was taught.
Yeah.
And so I stand between other people often. More often than I should, probably, because my face is really messed up. But I don't hurt other people. I just let them hit me, and I say, "Are you done? Leave my bar, please. Bye."
Yeah.
Because if I actually used the skills that I have learned, I would go to jail for murder or for manslaughter, at least, right? I would go to jail, and I choose not to do that. So I just stand there and let them hit me.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I'm weak as a kitten now, but that's 15 years of nerve damage that has caused me to become a
All right. Well, I think I usually end it at 2 hours. We got in for over 2.5. I think it's time to end the stream.
All right, Val. Thanks a lot for having
me.
Sorry about that, Val, Mike. Everything was fun
no worries.
until I came on.
Fun.
I get that.
Even though LDG is the only one who basically didn't say anything the entire stream.
Can you believe it?
Which I don't know if that made the stream better or worse.
Always better.
All right. But I will see you guys on May the 4th for the next JeopNerdy and the 100th episode of the CNA stream.
How'd you plan that out?
By skipping next Sunday.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Later, folks.
Later, guys.
Bye.